Getting up at 5 in the morning to go to the gym.
Yeah. But I do come in. I answered about 30 emails this morning because I even saw yours this morning.
Yeah.
But I didn't go far enough, I guess, because I got that many after you. Okay, let's talk about Chapter 10, Inheritance. So we're going to learn about inheritance and how to use it. Works the same as it does in other languages. Okay, we're going to learn about the hierarchy, subclasses, superclasses, overriding methods. That seems to be an issue for some people. And polymorphism. We're not going to get through all this today. My plan is to get through some of it. And we're going to finish it on Wednesday. And I'll give you your program on Wednesday so that you can work on it the entire time on my vacation.
On you.
Sound good?
Oh,
It's Thanksgiving week next week.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, all next week.
Yay.
I'll be in Orlando where it is, the temperature today is between 80 and 85 in Orlando. All right, let's talk about inheritance hierarchies. So as an object-oriented programming, inheritance is a relationship between a superclass and a subclass. Okay? The subclass inherits the data, methods, variables, and everything from the superclass. So, which one of these do you think is the superclass, car or vehicle?
Vehicle.
Vehicle. Vehicle is the superclass. Car is the subclass. The easy way to tell them apart is say car is a vehicle. You wouldn't say vehicle is a car. It would be the other way around. Car is a vehicle.
A vehicle is a car.
Right?
Objection.
Here's our example. So we have vehicles. Then under vehicles, we have motorcycles and cars and trucks plus others. And then under car, we could have sedan and SUV. I mean, you could break this down as much as you want. Okay. They don't have, I guess they have trucks separately. All right, so here it is. Since a subclass car is a vehicle, what happens is car inherits all the traits. There's a lot of traits that are in common. So what do you think a trait of a car could be that would also be part of the vehicle?
Has wheels.
Has wheels, maybe. Would length of bed? Probably not, because a car probably doesn't have a bed like a truck. So again, the vehicle pertains to everything. A car is a subset or a subclass of vehicles. Okay. All right, so you can substitute a car object in an algorithm expecting a vehicle object. So no big deal there. The is-a relationship is represented by an arrow. That's how it's drawn out. So a car is a vehicle. Okay, so far. They go through this huge, long example, which we're going to walk through, of quiz questions. Okay. So there's different types of questions. Fill in the blank, single answer, multiple answer, numeric answer, or free response. So which one of these is the superclass? Question. So question would be the superclass. Then the subclasses will be those below it. So fill-ins, choice, numeric, free response. Then choice, we could have multiple choice or multi-select. There's all kinds of different ones that we could do off of there. A single answer or multiple answers. Okay. So the question can display its text, can check if it's correct. And they're walking through an example in this chapter. That doesn't mean that's all you can use. Okay? It doesn't mean this is built into Python. This is what the author came up with. Okay. All right. So in this example, actually, I want to walk through some of this. We need to do some of this. Let's type some of this. Okay. Let's start creating this question class. Now I brought up this. Who's Melissa here? Okay, I'm gonna bring this up here. Bring this up here. So I'm gonna type class question. All right. Now we're going to define. And what's this thing called? With the INT?
Constructor.
Constructor, exactly. All right. And inside we're going to self.text, self.answer. We're going to submit this today, by the way.
What's the whole URL?
Oh. Yeah, let's do I copy this again?
There we go.
Do this. And I'll put it up there so y'all can see it. Up. You gotta go into the other spot. You go here. We're gonna add another link. Says what, the 12. All right, there you go. Should all be able to see that now. Now, I do want you to change something on here so I know you did this. Okay, do not take my code and just. I was very impressed with what we did in class last time. At least for the majority of you, at least change some of it, which was nice. So I realize we didn't do much here yet, but what the heck is this? What's this doing? Okay. So question is a class. Obviously, we can tell by the word class. Okay. And below it, just like Josh says, that's our constructor. What's self all about? Do we need self?
Yes.
Yeah.
We always need self. That basically says it points to whichever what you call it,
Method?
not method, instance. Points to the instance. Okay. So when I was to create a new question, it will automatically get two variables, text and answers, and both of them are set to what? Blank, to nothing. They're defined, but they really have no values at this point.
Are you not setting them to be like private?
Private,
variables?
right. I did not set them to private. Okay, how can I set them to private?
With the long-
With the double bundle. We're just going to leave them like this. That way it matches the slides for now. But remember, to set them to private, I would take this and I would put double underscores like that. Now, I got one other question. Okay, could I do this?
No.
Could I do that? It's not in the slides. Could I do that right there?
No.
You could. What are you gonna do with it?
Well,
I mean, you can, but it wouldn't change what the initial was.
you're on the right track. I can do this, but what ends up happening is the one defined in the constructor becomes an instance variable, pertains to the instance. So maybe I made 5 different questions. Each text could pertain, separately to each question. Now, the one that's at the same depth as definition, that becomes a class variable. So if I did that, that text would pertain to all instances. Okay?
So if you put text instead of self-text, it would
Yes.
just be.
Right, it would pertain to all of them. So it's very important you know the difference between an instance variable and a class variable. That bottom one on line 5 is the class variable, pertains to all of them, which in this case we wouldn't want because we don't want questions all have the same text. It would be the same question. Yes, you can do that. Okay. All right. Now, so that was our constructor. It says constructs a question with empty question and answer strings. Okay. Do we have to do that? Yeah. Let's go with this example. Now we're going to use set text. Okay. Go back here, and we're going to define set text. It's going to be the same level as our constructor. Question, I can't quite see it. Question text. And mine's only on a separate line because it wrapped around. Oh, they did have one underscore, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put one underscore in each of those. They just didn't have 2. So what is this one doing? Okay, I'm going to move this over here, move it over here, so it fits on one line. So what did set text do?
It set the instance variable text equal to the question text that you put in there.
Okay. Exactly what he said. It set the instance variable underscore text equal to the argument that was passed to set text. So question text is going to be the argument that was received. Did I have to call it question text? I could call it anything.
Mm-hmm.
I could call it ABC. Doesn't matter. Just whenever the location on line 6 and line 7 would have to match the spelling. Okay. So set text is going to set the question text. Very simple there. All right. Let's move on. Now we're going to set the answer. I wonder if I can get both of these kind of on here at the same time. There we go. Okay, define set answer. Okay, I'm going to do self answer equals correct. What this is going to do is I set the text, so I set the question text. Now I'm going to set an answer, okay? This is going to be modified later on in version 2. So it sets the answer for the question. The correct response is the answer. Now I want to make sure this thing's actually doing something. So I'm going to go over here and run this. I had nothing. Run it again. And nothing.
You don't do anything.
I don't do anything. So is it doing what it's supposed to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's doing what it's supposed to do. So many times people are like, but it doesn't do anything. Well, you didn't tell it to do anything. I mean, it's... Okay, now we're going to define check answer. Define check answer. Okay, return. Period. Okay, what the heck does that one do? So check answer, somehow, okay. Check answer receives one argument called response, and I'm returning response equal to self dot underscore answer.
You're returning a Boolean variable.
I'm returning true or false. Boolean, is the response equal to the answer? Okay, so I can set the question, set the answer, then I'm going to check it. And it's going to come back and tell me true or false. That's all it's going to tell me. It's not going to say good job or 5 points. It's literally going to say true or false. Okay, I'm going to run this again. And again, I get nothing. Because I'm not telling it to do anything. All right, now we need to display the question. Okay. The question, print. Okay, so now we're actually going to be printing it out. Again, it does nothing. Don't I hate that? We do all this work and it's doing nothing. All right. I think I can do this all in the same class. I'm going to test it. Now I'm going to say from questions. Actually, the file was called questions. Can I do this? Yeah. Import question. I'm not sure if I can do it this way. I also need to name this thing. Yeah, I'm getting ready to change that. Actually, I'm going to just name it main. It's easier for me to figure out how to change it. Okay? No, you cannot do it that way. From main for a question. I did call it question, didn't I? Thought I could do it this way. Actually, let me just try something here real quick. I think I can do it this way. Yeah, let's do this way instead. Instead of the from statement, We're going to do it this way. That way it's all in one file. Okay? That's basically the same thing. Y'all understand what I did there? Instead of that from questions, import question, I just did Q as a question because it's in the same class. Doesn't have to import. It's already there. Okay? I just want to make it so it's all in one file.
Doesn't say it like right underneath.
Well, yeah, but I skipped this part.
Oh.
Yeah, I skipped this line here because it's in my class already. Okay, let me say q.setText. Who is the inventor of Python? Question mark. Okay. Then we're going to say q.setAnswer. Guido von, let's spell it right. Von Rossum. Wherever you say that name. Rossum. Okay. So what did line 18 do?
Set the question.
Okay, so line 18, where did the flower control go? Once it hit 18, then where did it go? What line? It went to line 1 because it was calling the class, but then it went to line what?
Line 6.
Actually went to line 2.
Oh, yeah.
Because they called the constructor. Went to line 2. Since we did question, open, and close parenthesis, it matched up with the constructor on line 2, and then it set text or underscore text and underscore answer as variables. Then, so it went from 18 basically to 2, 3, 4. Then it went to 19. Then 19 went to where? 6. And then 7. And then 20. And then 9 and 10. Everybody see how this is working here? And then what does it do?
Nothing.
So when I run this, darn it, it did nothing. But could I see Q dot so in my shell, I could actually type Q.text, and I bet I could type Q.answer, and it works, even though I spelled inventor wrong. Because what it did is, since I ran it, it basically ran my program, created these variables, and I was just able to access them over there. Okay. Now they call a display method. Let's Q.display. And running it in the shell like we just did, checking the variables, is a great way to make sure it actually works. Here, I know I'm missing parentheses. Your answer. Okay. Now I'm going to run this. Who is the inventor of Python? 10. False.
Darn.
Darn it. So let's go Guido. True. Is that the correct name or is it Vaughn? It is Van. Okay. Now I'm going to run this again.
I was just thinking the same thing.
So why is it false?
It's case sensitive.
It's case sensitive. Could we make it so it's not case sensitive?
Yeah.
We could. We could use what methods could we use?
use .upper or .lower.
Right, we could use upper or lower to convert both. They converted both to the same. Okay. So we could do that. So it is case sensitive. So now we know it does work. Pretty cheesy type of question here, but it does work. All right. So now they got a little programming tip for us. It says using a single class for variation in values, inheritance for variation in behavior. Okay. It says use a single class. The point is, they talk about the very last statement. Don't overuse inheritance. Okay. Like you could literally go crazy and have car and then every single make of car and every single model of car and everything in a car. And now I went to McAllister Saturday. Drove my friend's Subaru. Wow, all kinds of crazy features on that. So do you think when he bought that, he sat there and they had a special Subaru that had all the options on it? Well, basically, when you buy a car, you buy a model of a car. And then you add the options.
Yeah.
Okay? That's how it works. You don't have a special Subaru with this option, then another special Subaru with this option. You basically have the model of the Subaru, and then you add options to it. You wouldn't want to have a million subclasses. That would be very hard to manage. Very, very hard to manage. So since the two vehicles only vary by fuel efficiency, use the instance variables to manage that. So really, if we got two different cars and they're basically the same, but one gets better mileage than the other, they can still be the same. Just make an instance variable to manage the miles per gallon. Okay. My ex-wife was funny. She bought a Ford Fusion. Everyone ever a Ford Fusion? She loved the car, but literally, as soon as she got it, she got a $450 gift card in the mail. What the heck's that all about? What it was, they advertised it as certain miles per gallon rating, but it wasn't right. So as soon as you bought a car, they instantly gave you a $450 gift card to make up for the estimated miles in like the first 3 years of owning the car. That's cheesy. It's kind of cheating, I think. So, but miles per gallon, if that's really the only difference, don't make a new car. Just use that as an instance variable to set the miles per gallon of each car. Okay. So two vehicles behave differently than use inheritance. Just don't go crazy with it. Okay. Don't have a million variables either. All right. The cosmic superclass object. Okay. It says in Python, every class that is declared without an explicit superclass automatically extends the class object. Everything is really an object. Okay. When you create a new list or a new question or a new dictionary, a new set, new integer, whatever, all those are automatically of type objects. They just are. I was reading a post from another student. We were talking about inheritance. Do you know what DNS is, other than Josh?
DNS?
DNS?
Yeah.
What is the superclass for DNS? Anyone know? What is what is the top level of DNS? No. It's actually a period. That is. If you look at the DNS hierarchy, you know how we got .com, .edu. Well, the dot is actually the very top level of the DNS hierarchy. Everything inherits from that. It makes sense once you hear it, because we all think com or edu would technically dot
Is what separates.
right, and then .edu, .com, .this, .that. So dot is the uppermost superclass of the DNS object.
Yeah, it makes it through .com /
Right.
blah, blah,
Exactly.
blah, blah, blah.
So
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the main page of
Right.
the first.
well, I never thought of that. Okay.
Is my right.
Some of you are like, what did you just say? Well, you don't know what DNS is? Well, stay in the dark. That's fine.
DNS servers.
DNS is awesome.
DNS. DCHP.
Okay.
GHCP.
So let's talk about this. This consider implementing a choice question to handle country. In other words, where was the inventor of Python born? Okay. We could have multiple options. Can you imagine if we had a multi-choice question, multiple choice question, and only had one choice?
Yes.
You guys would love that, wouldn't you?
Yes.
I've actually made one of those before. Darn it, I forgot to put in the other
You
option.
still get it wrong.
Exactly.
Get it wrong.
And I actually done that before, where I had the choice, but the only available answer was something else. You know, it doesn't match.
Yes.
Okay, so can we modify our question and handle it? It says, how does choice question differ from question? Okay, now choice question, see, we made question already, okay? But choice question now has multiple different options. Because remember when we wrote, literally there's one answer. We set the text and we set the answer. There's no other options. So what if we want to set more than one option? In other words, more, you know, like that, like country. What data type could we store those in, you think? A list would be perfect. You can actually use a set as well. I think a set would be a better option. That way we would get rid of duplicates. Because I've seen that as well. Sometimes we'll have a question bank where, like say, A and B are the both same answer. Yeah, A is the right one. If someone selects B, it's technically the same answer, but A was flagged as right, B was wrong, so it just seen all kinds of weird problems. So in a set would solve that because you couldn't have duplicates. So how does it differ? Well, it stores choices 1, 2, 3, and 4 in addition to the question. So now we have the text. Rather than just the text, now we have the different choices. Okay. There must be a method for adding multiple choices, which we're going to see about. Then the display method will show these choices below the question and number them. Okay. So in this section, we'll see how to form a subclass and how a subclass automatically inherits from superclass. Okay. So the subclasses inherit from the superclass. We already talked about that. So a car inherits from a vehicle. It says all methods that it does not override. What the heck does that mean? Well, we haven't really covered overriding, but a subclass inherits all methods from the superclass unless the subclass has redefined a method that has the same name. Okay. So if when my son lived with me, he inherited my address. Okay. Then when my son moved out, he's still my son, but his address is now different. So if I had a method to manage an address, his would return a different address than mine. Okay. So
my son.
You move out, you've done nothing to me. Okay. So a subclass can add new instance variables, add new methods, and change implementations. So the subclass inherits everything from the superclass, but it can also bring in new functionality. Okay. So maybe if we have a vehicle, then we have a car, then an electric car. They both inherit from the vehicle, but the electric car might have things different than the regular car or than the rear vehicle. So let's form a subclass by specifying what is different from the superclass. The subclass automatically inherits everything. So say you have number of tires. You don't even have to worry about that in the subclass because the superclass already has it. Unless it has more tires. Okay. Can you reuse any methods from the question class? That's always a question you should be asking. Is there anything I've written already that I can reuse? Okay. It says inheritance methods performed exactly the same. Nothing changes. If you inherit a method from the superclass, works exactly the same. Nothing changes. Okay. If you need to change it, write a new method in the subclass and it will override it. It's called overriding. Use the same name as the subclass you want to replace. It must take all the same parameters. It must function. In other words, the name's the same, arguments are the same. It just does stuff differently. That will override it. Now, if you use the same name but different arguments, that's not overriding. Does anyone know what it's called? Same name but different arguments?
Isn't that the
Overlapping
Overloading.
or loading.
Overloading. So overriding, same name, same arguments, totally replaces it. Overloading, same name, different arguments, it's technically a different method. Okay. So the new method will be invoked with the same method name when it's called on the subclass. Does a subclass can override a method of the superclass by providing a new implementation? So it says pass the name of the superclass question as part of the definitions of the subclass. Inherit text and answer variables, add new instance variables. I'm going to see, can we do this all in the same file? That's the question. Don't know if we can. We're going to try. So I'm going to go up here to like line 17. I'm going to say class choice question. All of it. Question. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to work. We're going to find right now. Yeah, it does work. Okay. So let's talk about this for a second. So now we have another class called choice question. We have our constructor. And now we have a new instance variable that's called choices. Why did we not have choices in the other one? Because the other one only had one, it was one text and one answer. Now we're going to have multiple answers. Now we're going to create our next method called add choices. I can find out where my cursor went. Good. Correct. We didn't correct it there. I forgot. Don't. Don't know if I can leave it like that because it's not complete yet. No, cannot leave it like that. Yeah, we need the rest. We need to add the rest of it in there. So I'm going to comment those out for the moment. So we are going to put the rest of them there in a minute. It just doesn't show that part yet. Somehow I lost my stuff. Where'd my web page go? What did I do?
Sure. Good.
Oh, you just shrunk it?
Oh, there it goes. Okay. So let's go back. There's something missing. What is that minus? Oh, because I have the slideshow going in the background. That's why. Didn't I say where I was at? Hold on, we got to get back to where we were. We did that one, we did that one, we did that one, that one, that one. All right. So now let's talk about this one a little bit more. Okay. So we have add choice, this method to add, this is basically added to the subclass to add our choices. Then we're going to have display, which also display the choices. Okay, we haven't written them yet, but we will. Okay. And here's basically what we said. Instance variables can be added to the subclass. So now choices right here, this list, we added it to the subclass. So does that mean it's available to the superclass? No, it's only available in the subclass. So if we have a parallel class, another type of class, maybe a fill in the blank question, we would not have access to choices. Okay. Then there's the other two methods we added. I think we're going to finish them up here in a second. There we go. All right, let's add the rest of this one. So with add choices, I'm going to say self.choices append choice. Yeah. If correct, this is the part that's a little different. Finish writing it, and then we'll write it. If choice string equals string length Handling choices. I think I'm missing something. I'm missing the underscore. Do it all. Yeah. Self set answer. See it. Choice string. Okay. What the heck does this do? Okay. Now, it says this method would receive 3 parameters. As usual, it'll have self first. Then it will have the text of the choice. Then it will have whether it's the correct answer or not. Okay? It appends the text to the choice list, sets the choice number to the answer, and calls set answer method. It calls set answer if it is the correct choice. Okay? Now I'm going to run this to make sure it still works. Oh, got something wrong. Self underscore choice. What did I do wrong?
I have 2 equal signs.
Oh. Good catch. There we go. Okay. Very good catch there. All right. So now, confusing super subclass. If you compare the object of type choice question with an object of type question, can't talk today. You find that choice question object is larger. It has an added instance variable called choices. It has that list we added. Then the choice question object is more capable. It also has an add choice method. So it provides more functionality for us. Okay. Just makes it a little more confusing, like it says. So why is choice question called a subclass of question? So the subclass provides more functionality, but it's considered a subclass. Even though it does more, it doesn't mean it has to be a superclass. It gives us functionality that a normal question does not need. It says the super terminology comes from set theory. Okay, look at the set of all questions. Note that all choice question objects, some of them are kinds of question and the rest are not. So question does not have to be the most capable one. Actually, usually not. Okay, a subclass constructor can only define the instance variables of the subclass, but the subclass instance variables also need to be defined. We're going to see there in 1 second. A superclass is responsible for defining its own instance variables. Because it's done with a constructor, the constructor must call super, which we're going to see right now. Let's talk about this for a second. This is probably the most confusing thing we covered so far. So to distinguish between a sub and superclass constructors, you use super. Super basically says, I'm calling the constructor from superclass. Okay? Not the subclass. It's the word super. Okay? So the constructor from the subclass is calling the constructor from the superclass. You do the same thing in Java and other languages. Says the superclass constructor should be called before the subclass does anything else. It's the same in other languages. If you're going to inherit the functionality from the superclass, you must do that first and then add your other variables. We're going to do it both ways to see what it does. So up in here, I'm going to go super. Oops.
I don't think your original constructor is called in it.
It isn't?
I don't think so. I think you had int.
Did I have it called in? Oh, you're right, I did. Thank you for pointing that out. That would have been an error. Okay, so when I run this now, it should still function. So now I'm going to change it up. Oops. And do it the opposite way. It should not function. At least you shouldn't do it this way. Yeah, naturally it still works. Okay, you should not do that. See how I put this after the fact? I don't know why it even allows it. You should not do it.
Yeah.
I don't know why it works.
Well, you didn't call it class, did you?
Yeah, but still, normally you always have to define super first. Well, they do say should be called before. I know in Java you have to call it first. It will not work otherwise. So I guess there's another thing in Python that just somewhat works. All right, the superclass constructor requires arguments. You must provide them. So in this example here, if it requires a question text, then you must specify, but ours did not require one, did it? Our superclass did not have one. Nope, it does not. It has no text. Bless you. Okay. Are they redefining ours so it does? That's the subclass. We don't have one that does. All right, let's now talk about their example here. So here we have a vehicle class that the constructor specifies the number of tires. And here we're saying number of tires is equal to the instance variable number of tires. So we can extend it by in the subclass like this, specifying vehicle, calling its constructor. Okay, and that's a car subclass. It doesn't show. There it is. Now they're doing it. And by calling super from car, this is actually referring to the vehicle's constructor that receives 4. Now if we go back a slide, there it is. You'll see right here where it said 4, number of tires. So that number of tires gets its value right here from this number 4. Okay. And the instance variable is added to the superclass. The plate number you can put in there as well. Okay. Now overriding. We had a display class, but we can create another display class. Remember, the display class in the original one just showed the text. We can have another display class which displays the options or the choices. Okay, and I think we can do that right now. So let's go look at our code. So inside of question, we have display right here. On line 15 and 16, we have display. It's just giving us the text of the question. Well, inside of choice question, we're going to create another method called display. The name must match. I'm going to get rid of the void. Okay. Now, that's not going to be totally complete yet. For I in range what? Length of choices. Boy, it's hard to see all of it on one screen. Range. Okay. If I spell it right. Is that right? Do I have the right number of parentheses? One too many. I plus 1, yep, 1. Percent D, percent S. Okay, is that code complete yet? No, it's still not totally complete because it's, I wish they give us the whole thing. I'm missing something in the middle. Okay. Let me go back to that 1 second. Why don't they give us the whole thing? I hate when they do that. All right. What's going on with mine? What's wrong with it? Maybe we can figure out what they're missing.
In the for group, is there 3 left ones and 2 right ones?
Oh. that right now? Is that what I was missing? No, Python line 29
Yeah,
for
it's
I
You
in
didn't have one.
range.
We have 3 left and 2 right.
1, 2. I just put a third one there.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. You clicked it and then you clicked away.
Oh, it's because you already put one there. So that, there you go.
There we go. Okay, good catch.
Oh,
Okay, so it's working. We could find there.
Okay.
So this will display the text. Actually, let's look and see what that code actually does, since it's actually easier to hear. Okay, so this display method has self, which means it's for whatever instance. So for I in range, link self.choices. Now we haven't added any choices yet, but remember we have the add option to do that already. This is saying go through the list of choices, find the length of it, okay? Then go through each one of them and then add one to the choice number, because it's going to be printing out a number with this %D and then the actual choice with the %S. Okay. So we're going to call this here in just 1 second. And the first part is tricky. You can't access text variables in the subclass directly because they're private. Okay, it says call the display method in the superclass using the super function. We have to call super.display first. So inside of our display method, right here, we need to say super.display. I think I need to put self in the middle. No, I don't have to. Okay. What that'll do, by specifying this one right here, it automatically calls this one. That way we'll have access to printing out the text of the question. Okay. So if we didn't do that, we would not be able to access the text. But technically, it's not private because there's only one underscore, so we could have printed the text anyway. But this right here, super.display, is calling the superclass's display method, which is printing out the text of the question. Okay. That's what it's doing. Okay, we already got that. So display the answer choices. The first part is trickier. Continued. If you use the self reference instead of the super function, then the method will not work. So we needed the super, which we already have that. Now we have to go in and do some of this. We need to type in this question. Is there a way? Oh, it's a picture. Darn it. So I'm going to define main. First, set, oops. Colon there. Oh, I'm just putting something short so I can get it to work. Okay, so that should do our first question. I'm going to comment on this other stuff. I'm not writing the whole thing at this point. I got to write more of it. I'll bring this back up so you can see it here in a second. This pertains to, what'd I do?
expand it.
Oh. Okay, I got to make sure where this is at. So this is in here, define the main method. Should be able to call main. Oh, not complete. Figure out what we did. Python line 40. Okay, init, one position verb, a 2 was given. What line on line 20? Init. Actually, we shouldn't need that, do we? We don't need that one. I'll show you what I got here in a second. Line 37, we got something else wrong. Did we not write add choice? Oh, add choices. There we go. Okay. I'm not doing the whole thing yet. Still need this. Present question, present question.
You need to find it first. Huh?
Yeah, right. Actually, I need to find it ahead of time, but
Oh.
I'll fix that in a second.
Yeah, it is.
Your answer. Can't see it. I already have that down here. Yep.
Would it take response?
Yeah, because we're defining response.
Oh, okay.
Line 43. Well, I hate it when they don't give us the whole code all at one time.
We don't have a method called check answer.
We already added that, didn't we?
Worked for me.
Right there.
Oh.
Did I spell it wrong?
Okay.
Check. ANS. So yours worked fine?
Yeah.
So Q.check answer was response. My check answer take an argument? Yep, takes an argument. Actually, does yours have question in it like that?
Mm-hmm.
There's choice, and check answer was there with response. All right, what did I do wrong? Help me figure out what I did wrong. List object is not callable. Line 30 to line 43. Is that isn't that supposed to be square brackets? Your display method? Square brackets or squiggly brackets?
Oh, no, I'm just gonna type
I was working earlier.
Should be square bracket.
Okay, so it is square brackets.
It says invalid syntax now.
Darn it.
Oh wait, no. Yeah, that should be parentheses.
Like that?
Yeah.
But then I still got a problem. It says following display list object is not callable. Did I not?
List object.
Look at your display method. What's the difference between yours and mine?
Oh.
I'm missing something. Do I need self in here?
No, I
I
didn't
shouldn't
have
need
that.
it.
There's no differences.
Okay, there's got to be something wrong. Okay, so down here you're calling choice questions just like this inside your main method.
Is it because we commented out what Q is?
I thought oh, you know what?
Yeah, he still has Q.
Yeah, I have all that.
Yeah,
set up.
Q isn't.
Uh-huh.
That, good catch. Wait a minute, we need that in the main still. Where does that need to be? That has to be, where is your queue defined at?
I have it defined on the main. Like
In the
outside.
main?
Yeah, under it, but outside of it.
Darn, I just did something like that. Like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, right there.
Do you have all the rest of that as well?
It still says it's not callable.
Change mine.
There's still something wrong. Okay, so main method, let's see what we're doing here. We're calling the main method. Main right here. So we're adding our stuff to it. It's not a problem. Then we make a question, then we set its text in this answer and we display it.
Factor list object is not callable.
Yeah, we still got an error on this one up here. Is your Q.display the same as mine?
I changed it back because I thought maybe since the two we used Q two different times, so I changed it to S, but it still worked.
Run these real quick.
Mine doesn't do anything, but it doesn't give me an error.
Should be popping up with a question.
Well, yeah, I commented out the question.
So you commented out like my 51, 51,
Yeah.
52,
I can comment it all that out. And
but you
just-
have Q as question, correct?
No, I commented that one out too.
You need to have it.
Yeah, if I run it, it just gives me nothing.
So you have that commented out too?
And not anymore, and it still gives me nothing.
Both ways gives them nothing with the comments.
Okay, so we got something else wrong. I have to figure out what the hell I got wrong. Well, we're almost, well, we got 10 more minutes. We can figure it out. Come on, we can figure it out.
Come on, team.
Let's go, team.
So I don't like the way they only give us half the code. So we called main called the first question. Then how did we get to display?
Line 46, 40, 43.
So 43,
Q dot
this,
display.
this called 42, and it passed it first, so Q is first. So Q.display called this one.
Would it matter if you define main before you define?
Oh, that's what, we have to define something first. We need, this should be defined before main. I don't know if that's going to solve it. I doubt it will. We're going to test it anyway. No, still didn't solve it. We're still.
Trace
We
back.
got N though.
N was coming up a minute ago too. At least for me it was.
Did you put present question in the class choice question?
What now?
Did you put present question in the choice question class?
I just did present questions on what I did.
Oh.
I just didn't do all of it. See, that's right. Here. I just only added the first question.
Oh.
Should still work though.
Because I put mine in
Oh,
choice
from
question.
import
Oh.
choice question.
Import questions for choice.
That could be why. No, because it's got choice questions. So now we're right there.
Choice question define them.
Choice questions defined right there.
Yeah.
Choice question.
Is there an argument in choice question when you call it? Or would it
No,
already just call the superclass?
it calls this here. Choice question.
I have no idea what's actually happening in this room.
Oh, we got to figure it out.
There's a lot of
Must
stuff.
know. Okay, so we called choice question right there. And choice question was defined
First part is
right
trickier.
there. That's correct. And we added our super display. We couldn't add self, we knew that.
Display self,
We need-
error, and
All right, what you're going to submit for today, so I know you followed along. You notice I should give you more time to submit it today in case you weren't following along. I want a screenshot showing me your code. But you need to like put some comments in there with your name so I know you did it. Like, you know, Tyler wrote this code or something.
At the top.
Yeah, a couple
Anyone
different
program?
places. Because you're going to have to do like 2 screenshots or 3 to get it all.
but
Pretty
Timothy
sure.
was here.
I was thinking the same.
What is this supposed to look like when it's working?
It's not working out. I'll have to figure out what it is, but we don't have time left. I'll figure it out and I'll tell you next class period exactly what. See, the problem is they give us, I'll show you exactly where the problem is.
Should it be?
When they give us code exactly like this with 3 dots, that means it's not complete. And they've done it many times, like they did it right here. And they did it on the section before that. They did it there. And I got to figure out what the heck's missing on it. Yours is working?
So after programming range, length, self choices, get rid of the circle bracket choices.
That's what I did once. I swear I did. Oh, I replaced it with square brackets.
Wait.
Oh, so that's all it was? Seriously?
And I hope I have
Choice questions.
I can't believe that's all it was. Okay.
That's mine.
It works. That's all it was.
What was it?
Darn it.
I just completely missed all of that.
Right here. Remember they're showing square brackets like that?
Yeah.
That's wrong. Just get rid of them.
Oh, those extra parentheses
Yes,
and
remember we tried replacing.
Yeah, you tried to.
See, they have them there. They have the square brackets there. So that's an error. You can't have these square brackets.
You mean those parentheses?
Yeah, you can't have the parentheses, I'm sorry. Good catch back there. So just get rid of them. So it literally is like that, and the thing runs beautifully.
I don't.
Oh, wait, I just changed
Yeah.
something again.
Still having something, nothing.
What? Oh, now I deleted another one. Hold on.
So, yeah, you have to have 2 because of length.
There you go. So 1 would give me true. 2 would give me false.
You want me to snip it?
Choice questions.
Yeah, just
Now you
Okay.
can submit it.
you can only give me 1 if you want, but I need your name in here somewhere so I know you did it. You kind of show me that it runs. And that was the problem right there, the choices.
And show you that one.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
mine's
just
not right.
take a snip of that whole thing right there. Just go over here and say, summer.
Yeah, I know.
Against my name.
So mine's not running, that's why.
Well, I'm giving you all the rest of the day to submit it. Did you have a question over there
I
somewhere?
put Timothy was
I'm still getting choice questions not being different.
Did you?
Choice question, non-fact, that's no actual choice.
What you were saying?
Oh, was it just choice?
Choice questions. Choice questions.
Okay, where's your class?
Oh, no, I don't have an
Choice,
underscore.
choice, AQs, okay, and you're calling it.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, you need to go at the end of the C and hit delete. Bring that up. There you go, hit delete. Couple more times.
Oh, no, so.
H-O. There.
What's the assignment called? November in class?
Okay, choice.
Yeah.
You still got something wrong. Choice, question, choice.
Oh, he.
Okay, that's submitted. Just gonna close all that. Holy shit. I cannot believe I wrote research paper.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I got that.
A 3-page.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh,
You wonder how much was into the 3rd page? I just like.
I'm not a liar. It is 3 pages.
Well, he said if it wasn't 3 to 5 pages
Run it
long,
again.
he wouldn't even like look at it. I guess according to the thing. So I just made my conclusion kind of long.
And this is how I end it, and this is how I end it.
And this is how I.
41.
And this other thing and that thing. And yes, I definitely did.
41. That's the first set.
there.
I'm really happy. Really happy to go to. That was like such a big stress thing. I should have just did it way earlier. But
I'm sure you learned your lesson. It'll never happen ever again.
I'm definitely sure.
No, main is.
Oh, my main, wait, present question.
Oh, yeah, your main.
my,
you can go back.
yeah.
But I do have a month
Main's
until
on the
our
wrong
next
spot.
paper's
Yeah,
due, and I'm actually gonna work on that one.
Actually, bring both of them back.
Oh, so main's not supposed to, okay, so only these 3 are supposed to.
Yeah, these 3 need to all go back. Bring main back too. There you go.
You just want to comment on
And now I'm back. Bring the next group back.
Oh, no news is good news.
Yeah, bring those all back and bring Maine back. Then you should have it.
And then, I see another
Have a
thing.
good day, Tyler.
Present question, mine's below.
Yeah,
below.
I'm not sure if you have to. Try it either way. Jason, I gave you till tonight to submit it.
that.
We'll be around.
Other name's supposed to be on that. Yeah, since that's out, main has to be rolled in.
You need an underscore.
And you put main below main. See, now I have the problem of something have no parameters.
Okay, my code's available. I shared the link with you. Just make sure yours works. Send me just a screenshot showing me it does that.
Mine is.
How late is this?
I did it till midnight.
Okay. Okay, 'cause I have to work.
Hey, Timmy, can you look at my code real quick?
Stop the recording.